Hey everyone, welcome to my first ever ponyfic reading. This isn't a set scheduled thing yet. I'm just really dipping my toe into the waters to see how it goes. A little heads up before we start. I do all the voices in this and I butcher them completely, so I apologise for that. I will not blame you for switching off as soon as you get to the Pinkie Pie impression. And Logan, the author of this, please don't hate me for what I've done to your story. Like a Flower to the World by Loganberry. The Quiet Shadows Falling. As Verdant Plateau gulped down her seventh daisy of the day, she became aware of the curious cloud that had obscured the noonday sun. Its shadow wandered and weaved, bobbed and bounced, swayed and swerved. Verdant swallowed again, but this time all that slid down her gullet was a sticky, sickly mixture of saliva and dread. The shadow moved in for the kill.
"Hello, I haven't seen you around here before. You're new to Ponyville, huh? Well, are ya?"
Verdant nodded awkwardly, spotting as she did so an eighth daisy sheltering beneath a particularly expansive dandelion leaf. She reached out with a gentle, ginger forehoof to touch it and feel its delicate petals for just a moment, then craned her neck and used her teeth to pluck it smoothly from its hiding place.
Just boring old flowers? How do you feel about cake?"
A thrush called in a nearby tree. Verdant sucked the new daisy into her mouth, then listened with rapt attention, ears up and head down. There was a sudden commotion in the branches and she looked up reflexively. The bird took off, wings beating smoothly, almost lazily as it disappeared southward.
"What's your name?"
Verdant slowly raised her head and was confronted by one of Pinkie Pie's heartfelt smiles of welcome.
"Teeth. So many teeth."
She shuddered, wishing she shared the songbird's ability. Pinkie Pie batted her eyelashes at Verdant in a way she found more than faintly disturbing. The other mare cringed. There was nothing else for it. "Verdant Plateau. I was a language student in Philadelphia, and now I'm taking a year off."
"Oh, wow, that's such a nice name, and it fits so well with your super amazing coat. I don't think I know another Verdant, which is odd because I know every pony around here, and I think there'd be another one in town like this, although I guess Ponyville isn't a very large town, and oh, I'm Pinkie Pie, and I just know you're going to love..."
Verdant gulped down the daisy and was immediately seized by a fit of coughing. Her eyes bulged and rolled in her face, her long auburn mane flopped and flashed in the sunlight. Spittle flecked the teeth and gums of her wide-open mouth. In seconds, Pinkie was with her, thumping her hard on the back. Verdant stopped coughing and rolled away hurriedly.
"Thanks, Pinkie Pie."
She got unsteadily to her hooves.
"Oh, it was nothing, but now you owe me for it."
An avaricious light flashed in Pinkie's eyes. Verdant sighed and reached for her saddlebags, but her hoof was quickly swatted away.
"Don't be silly, silly. What do I want bits for? All you have to do is come to the bakery at 6 o'clock tonight. You know Sugar Cube Corner, right?"
Verdant nodded unwillingly.
"Make sure you come to the back door. It's a little boring on the outside, but it's what's inside that counts. Be there or be in a Claire. And oh, that reminds me."
"What?"
"See you later. Gotta cater."
Pinkie bounced off, whistling a cheerful three-part harmony. Verdant sighed again, returning her attention to the daisies. On her third attempt, Verdant finally managed to make it all the way to the bakery's small and rarely used back door. She knocked once, softly, and listened. Nothing. She exhaled and turned away, the ghost of a smile playing on her lips, but found her forehoof reaching out again. She rested it against the surprisingly unadorned brown wood for a few moments, then she sucked at her teeth and knocked a little louder, giving 2 brief raps. Nothing. This time, only Verdant's head turned away. Her hoof remained resting against the door, feeling its small depressions and cracks. She gathered herself for one last attempt, weighing in her mind just how hard she really wanted to knock. Eventually, she pulled back her foreleg and, winding herself up for a solid blow, she let the hoof drop. "I have an invitation after all," she reasoned, and pushed at the door. It yielded and opened smoothly. There was no scrape or creak, and oh, what joy, no bell to tingle at the young mare's passage beneath, but simply the sudden rush to her nostrils of 100 captivating confections. She closed her eyes tight, but that only made the sense even harder to ignore. Opening them again and taking a deep, broken breath, she entered, leaving the door ajar behind her. The long hallway was dark and shadowy. A cool breeze filtered in from somewhere above, and there was a faint bubbling sound in the distance. There was another door at the end of the passage. This one was firmly shut. After a quick glance over her shoulder, Verdant approached it warily. She reached out to turn the knob, but once more she abruptly dropped her hoof. She bent down to listen. Nothing. Muffled and distant behind her, the town hall clock chimed 6 times. She waited for the echoes to die away. Nothing. Well, she'd kept her part of the bargain by coming when she'd been told. If no pony else had, that was their problem. Letting out the stale lungful that she hadn't realised she'd been holding, Verdant turned to leave, relief flooding through her as she stepped. Pinkie Pie was leaning easily against the painted wall of the hallway, silent and still. She was munching on the remains of a small white flower. A daisy, it looked like. "You!" Verdant straightened up suddenly. "You startled me. I didn't know you were even here." Pinkie swallowed her snack in one quick gulp and beamed.
"Then you, Verdant Plateau, have your head screwed on right."
"I do?" Pinkie put a hoof to her temple.
"Or was it left?"
Her smile wavered for a fraction of a second, then returned in full force. Are you here to throw me a party?" ventured Verdant. Pinkie raised an eyebrow.
"A party?
"Isn't that what you do to new ponies in town?"
"I most certainly do not!"
There was a sudden, startling weight behind Pinkie's words, and Verdant took half a step backwards.
"That wouldn't be very friendly."
"Then what?" Pinkie Pie pulled herself up to her full height and cleared her throat as though preparing to issue a proclamation.
"I do things for new ponies, and I do things with new ponies, and sometimes if they're Pegasi, I do things under new ponies. Doing things to new ponies isn't very friendly, and being a Pinkie Pie means being friendly to every pony."
Verdant's brow furrowed. "A Pinkie Pie?" Pinkie waved a hoof dismissively.
"It's kind of quantum. Please don't tell Twilight, or she might want to take a look at it, and then it might disappear. And I don't want it to disappear because it is me, and me needs to be here."
"You never really stopped being a language student." Verdant couldn't resist correcting Pinkie. "I need to be here." A fraction of a second later, as she realised what she'd done, Verdant braced herself for the inevitable, terrifying hug. It never came. Pinkie was still propped up against the wall, munching steadily on another daisy.
"Where did she get that?" "So, Verdant Plateau,"
said Pinkie, leaning forward with a neck that seemed to be made of rubber as she swallowed her latest snack.
"did you like your patent Pinkie Pie preception party?"
What?
"Preception party. It's kind of like a reception party, except that it always comes first."
"And this was it, just now?" Verdant's brow furrowed once more. Pinkie nodded and smiled. Not a grin, not a smirk, not a beam or a simper, just a smile. Verdant started to turn for the door, her face now wearing a remarkably similar smile. "Yes," she said. That was Like a Flower to the World. First off, don't say I didn't warn you about the impressions and the voices. I tried my best, I really did. I am so sorry about those. It seems like it felt a little abrupt, and there's a lot that feels like it's been left out, but that's because that's exactly the case. It was originally written in a much shorter version for a write-off with the concept "things left unsaid," and so that's why much of it feels subtext rather than out-and-out spoken. Even without the prior knowledge I had that Verdant has social anxiety, a condition that I am very well acquainted with myself, it becomes apparent very quickly that this is the case. Please be aware that my own experiences with social anxiety will affect my insight and opinions of the story, so by no means should yours have to agree with mine. Verdant's initial decision to remain on the outskirts of Ponyville is reminiscent of many sufferers' preference to stay on the outskirts of society, rather staying in their comfort zone eating daisies than being forced into more than uncomfortable interactions. The story says that it takes her 3 attempts to make it all the way to Sugar Cube Corner, and this is something that I can sympathise with, as on particularly bad days, I find it somewhat difficult to even leave the house to go places I know or where I'm expected. For Verdant to have this much trouble going somewhere that, as far as she's aware, there's going to be a party in her honour, is not only believable, but actually impressive that it only took her 3 attempts to get there. And then her relief when a patented Pinkie Pie reception party begins with a patented Pinkie Pie preception party is more than appropriate. Sufferers of social anxiety often find new situations more manageable if they can ease into them first. The line Verdant started to turn for the door, her face now wearing a remarkably similar smile, implies that she is actually turning to go to the party proper, now knowing that it's something that she should be able to handle, especially if Pinkie's understanding of the situation has led her to throw a nice, mellow party appropriate to the situation, possibly even with only Pinkie Pie and Verdant attending. There's no guarantee this is the case, of course, but my interpretation is that this is how it would go. Pinkie herself is very well written, and that's not an easy task by all accounts. Many think she's just all about fun and loud hyperactivity, but above that she makes it a task to make every pony feel welcome and happy. She's also shown many times that she'll put the needs of literally any pony else before her own desires, demonstrating more than enough emotional awareness that she would see Verdant is uncomfortable with large, loud parties with lots of ponies, and plan a more appropriate welcome. It did strike me as a little off that she'd tell Verdant to come to the back door of Sugar Cube Corner, obviously already with the idea to have the preception party first, and yet didn't tell Verdant this to put her at ease a little. However, knowing that it was just a small event could cause Verdant to reason that she wouldn't really be letting any pony down if she didn't attend, and I do speak from experience here, there have been times where I have backed away from small gatherings because I figured, well, it's only a little thing, I'm not letting anyone down if I don't go, so I am more than willing to let that drop. The quantum touch really made it for me. It's the only explanation for Pinky physics other than it's a cartoon. I love that she embodies quantum mathematics in this so perfectly that she can both understand it and be dismissive of it, simply accepting that it is the way it is so that she can utilise it without collapsing the wave function. This has actually even evolved into a natural understanding within the Brony fandom itself. Even those with no understanding of quantum physics, when trying to understand how Pinky does what she does, often just come to the conclusion of, because Pinkie Pie. She does it because she does it, we accept it because she does it because we accept it. This story doesn't need a score out of 10. I loved it, and I strongly urge you to go and give it a read. I'm going to leave a link down in the description to it so you can go and check it out for yourself. If you liked the video, hit that like button, feel free to comment on the video with your opinions of the video and the story itself, and subscribe for more, provided I don't get disowned by the Brony community for my horrendous voice acting.